relative to extending certain state of emergency accommodations, which, among other things, extends the expiration of the provisions pertaining to the open meeting law to March 31st, 2025. Specifically, this extension allows public bodies to continue holding meetings remotely without a quorum of the public body physically present at a meeting location and to provide adequate alternative access to remote meetings. Specific information and general guidelines for remote participation by members of the public can be found on the Town of Freetown website, freetownma.gov. Excuse me, okay, that being said, I'll call the meeting of the Freetown Conservation Commission to order. The members we have tonight are Charlie and Margaret.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, I'm just a little behind the 8 ball here traveling, so. First on our agenda, we have a request for determination of applicability. This is for 7 Freeman Circle. The applicant owner is Charlene Barboza, and the scope of work is removal of 2 trees with stumps to remain. Do we have somebody here for that project?
Yes, you do, Kevin.
Yes,
Oh,
I'm sorry. I
excellent.
just unmuted.
That's okay.
Yep.
How are you this evening? So if you would just state your name for the record, and Victoria, do we have the ability to do a screen share with this if need be?
Yes.
Okay, and it's on our, these plans would be on our website too?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, so if anybody's interested, right, you can go onto the Town of Freetown website under the Conservation Commission, and on the left-hand side, you'll see Conservation Commission current filings. Click on that and you will see 7 Freeman Circle. And there we go. So is it Ms. Barboza? Is that who's here?
Yes, that's what's there.
Excellent.
Yep.
All right, if you'd
So-
like to.
Okay, you want me to continue?
Yes, please. Yes, please.
Okay, it's just the request to cut down 2 trees, stumps remaining. One of the trees is fairly large. I mean, I've been here for 19 years. So one of the trees is fairly large and it's starting to lean like over my fence, and I just don't want it, on top of my house someday or in the pool or and as you can see on the plan too, I do have an above ground pool. So the other tree, I figured while they were here, if they could just cut down the smaller one too, which is next to it. Just, because of leaves and everything else in the pool. And, but the bigger one is definitely leaning like towards like over the fence.
Okay, are you hiring a professional company to come in and do this?
Oh, yes, I've already gotten a couple of estimates, and of course their first thing is, did you call conservation? So I said I'm going to, and
Well, those are some good tree companies, because a lot of times that step is forgotten. So I do appreciate you and the tree companies for doing the right thing. So thank you.
oh yeah, well, and I plan on leaving the stumps there. I mean, I'm not gonna walk around
Yep.
back there or anything, so that's not a problem.
Does anybody have any problems or questions?
I'm good, Kevin.
I could sip of water, went down the wrong way. Okay. That being said, if there is, and again, we're not going to be grubbing or moving any earth or anything. We're leaving the stumps there, so we're not worried about runoff or siltation control.
No.
So again, appreciate you filing with us. So if nobody else has anything, then I will entertain a motion to issue a negative determination number 3 that it is in a buffer zone but will not dredge, alter, or fill an area subject to protection of the act.
Motion's made.
I'll
Thank you.
second.
Motion's been made and supported. There's no further discussion on the motion. Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Roll call vote. Charlie Sullivan.
Aye.
Charlie Sullivan, aye. Margaret French.
Aye.
Margaret says aye. Kevin Demaris says aye. Motion passes unanimous. Thank you, Charlie. We'll get that signed up and sent out to you.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much for your time.
Great night. Good luck.
Thank you.
All right. Next on our agenda, we have a request for determination of applicability. This is for 265 Bullock Road. The applicant owner is LaFountain LLC, and the representative would be Niles Zager Zenith Consulting Engineers. And the scope of work is to fill in a drainage ditch and replace with a 12-inch ADS N12 pipe. Do we have somebody here for this project?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, Niles Zager from Zenith.
How are you, Mr. Zager?
I'm very good. How are you?
Thank you. I'm fine, thanks. You may proceed, sir.
Thank you. So this actually has been in front of the commission in the past. It's an existing commercial buildings, 3 different buildings on this, actually 4 different buildings on the site. It's currently being occupied for, they do manufacturing of fiberglass tanks and things of that nature on site. It was previously before the commission because they wanted to dig a ditch to relieve stormwater from the rear to the front. And what that has done since is it has kind of cost them a good chunk of land that they would like to be able to utilize. So we analyzed it. We did a survey. We analyzed it and found that the wetland that it is connecting is a very minor wetland. And in order to connect it, we felt as though a 12-inch HDPE pipe, which is what we're proposing to connect it, would suffice, would be more than suffice. And what we're looking to do is basically put that pipe in and fill that, so that way they have access to the rear of the property that they, currently it's currently all gravelled as is. They just don't have access to it because of this current ditch that's there. So we've proposed silt sock on the property, where the crossing and the filling is going to be. And basically what will happen is it'll just get filled in place and just left as gravel, just like current conditions are now. So that's, and all this work is obviously located within the buffer zone, within the 100-foot buffer zone. There is no riparian zone on site. There's no natural heritage, no flood zone. So there's no other resource areas to be concerned with. It's a very flat area as well. There's almost no topography other than that ditch that needs to be filled. So it should be a pretty straightforward, simple, construction job that could be done probably in a day or so. I think that's about it. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
So the existing ditch, it is man-made and it's been approved by us in the past. And again, I think it was a 2-part. You've got an accumulation of water at the back of the property. It's not a big enough area to be considered a wetland. But there has been concern from an abutter that holding water there may be a bad thing for his situation. So the fountains have tried to move the water jurisdictional area and then over that way. And so the area of the drainage ditch, right, that's not a wetland, that's non-jurisdictional also, correct?
That is correct. Even the area that we're tying into would be the easterly side, closest to the butter is just a non-jurisdictional isolated area that just basically, it does hold water, but it's non-jurisdictional.
Right, and I see we have elevations, right? So the elevation of the invert at the wetland in the back is about 97. I'm using round numbers. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Somewhere around there, and then at daylight, it's going to be somewhere around 94, 95. I just want to be able to demonstrate through the plan that the pipe, in fact, is flowing away from the back of the property, correct?
That's correct. It's we would never. Yeah, correct. It's draining that area and bring it into the existing wetland, or the actual wetland resource out and more towards the front, and then ultimately goes out and discharges across Bullock Road.
Right.
And it's just such a minor, small area. It's almost.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And it goes into an existing wetland that the town already utilizes for stormwater management. I mean,
That is correct.
right.
Good point.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions or comments?
I'm good, Kevin.
All right. That being said, then, again, I will entertain a motion number 3, that it is in the buffer zone, but will not dredge out the fill-in area subject to protection by the act. So notice of intent is not required.
Motion made.
Motion's
I'll
been made,
second.
motion made and supported. Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Roll call vote. Charlie Sullivan.
Aye.
Charlie says aye. Margaret French.
Aye.
Margaret says aye. Kevin Damaris says aye. Motion passes unanimously. Mr. Zager, we'll get that signed up and sent out to you. Oh, don't go anywhere, sir. You are on for number 3 also. All
Yes,
right.
sir.
So next on the agenda, request for determination of applicability. It's for 21 Elm Street. Applicant owner is John Fasciano Jr. Representative is Niall Zager from Zenith Consulting Engineers, and the scope of work is construction of an addition to an existing single-family house. Again, you can go on our website and you can find these plans here. So 21 Elm, download PDF. All right, this is such a tight, almost just outside. Again, for the record, Mr. Zager, if you would.
Again, for the record, Niall Zager from Zenith Consulting Engineers. And you're absolutely right, Mr. Chairman. It's just at that 100-foot, but you know, there's gonna be work that's going to be being done within the 100-foot. So we felt that best that it be, you know, that we at least do, you know, notify you of what we're planning on doing, show the proper stabilization, and erosion control measures and move forward that way. Basically what we're looking to do is he's putting an addition on, to expand the home. It's all within an existing lawn area, landscaped area. So there's actually no vegetation being taken down at all. We're staying outside the 50-foot, even with the erosion control. I basically just extended it from the edge of the driveway up to the existing shed, because that was kind of a nice, easy way to demarcate it. It gives the trucks and everything more than enough room to sufficiently get around in there. But that's really about it. It's a very simple, water table is not an issue. It's really high up in elevation from the wetland. It's a fairly sandy area over there in that area. We did provide a silt sock for erosion control, and we did provide a dewatering basin detail in the matter of, or in the case that, you know, they do encounter water, they will be able to handle it. However, I don't feel as though it's probably going to be needed. And then once all the work is done, it'll be restabilized with loam and seed, and that'll be it. Be happy to answer any questions.
So really looking at the plan, Niles, you're talking about the associated grading and loaming and seeding around the new foundation. That's really the only work that's within the true buffer zone.
That's correct, Mr. Chairman.
You provided silt sock. So, I think to your point, it's a pretty straightforward, everything else previously disturbed. I think we all are familiar with the property there as you're going up Elm Street there on the left. The one with set back there, pretty property. I don't think you're gonna hit the wetland either. When I looked at the perk test, I don't think you're gonna be, I mean, not the wetland, but water at all.
Correct.
All right, anybody have any questions or comments on this?
I'm all
Not,
set, Mr.
Then I
Chairman.
will, all right, then I will entertain a motion that we issue a negative determination number 3. Just one thing, if we could, with that motion, the condition that all the spoils and all will be kept within that area that is protected by the silt sock. All right, you don't have a problem with that, Mr. Zager?
Absolutely not.
All right, so I'll entertain a motion, we issue negative determination number 3 with the condition that all spoils and materials be stored in a manner that they would be protected from erosion by the proposed silt sock.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Motion being supported. Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Charlie Sullivan, roll call vote. Charlie Sullivan.
Aye.
Charlie Sullivan, aye. Margaret French.
Aye.
Margaret French, aye. Kevin Damaris, aye. Motion passes unanimously. All right. Thank you, Mr. Zager. Appreciate it. And we'll get those things signed up and sent out to you as soon as we can.
Thank you very much. Have a great night, everyone.
You too.
All right, you too now. Thank you. All right, item number 4, discussion and take action relative to the Veteran Senior Work-Off Program for Gatekeeper. So Victoria, we had 2 gatekeepers last year, right? Jonathan and Mark, is that correct? And is it Mark won't be back this year?
Jonathan won't be back.
Jonathan won't be back this year. Okay, Mark will. So a couple of things. We're probably going to try and advertise and see about getting another paid person because we would have money, correct, Victoria, to pay 2 people to do it?
Yep, we do have money in the budget.
Okay. And to also look at, because we were very fortunate that the 2 that we had were brothers and there was great communication and they went above and beyond to make sure that those gates got opened and closed and they took care of the place down there. So I'd like to keep that progress. And if we can get a couple of senior work-off people that could, you know, fill in the gaps, should somebody be late or not be around, assist with some stuff down there. I think if there are viable candidates that are willing to do that, I think it's a perfect opportunity for them. Does anybody else have any? And just so everybody understands, senior work-off programs, seniors have the ability to volunteer for the town, and they would then be paid with having their taxes reduced. They're paid, I believe, minimum wage up to a certain amount of hours, and then they get their taxes reduced. So does anybody else have any thoughts on whether they're for or against, or should we pursue this idea?
Sounds good to me, Kevin.
All
I'm
right.
okay with that. Do we know how many hours they would have to work or?
They don't have to work. Here's the deal, right? They don't have to work a certain amount of hours. If they only put in 10 hours through the year, then they would only get 10 hours worth of pay and 10 hours worth of money taken off their taxes. It's up to them. There
okay.
is a limit. I don't think that they can work and get any more than, what is it, $750?
I believe so,
Victoria,
yeah.
yeah.
I
So,
thought they increased that at the last town meeting, no?
but it's
Did-
somewhere around that, right? So, and with them, I believe getting around minimum wage, somebody else can do the math, but so they can work up to that amount of hours.
Oh, you know what? Victoria's right. We did up it to 1,500 with a minimum wage of $15. We figured that was,
They can do 100
worked out.
hours.
Yep.
Even I could figure the math out, Margaret. Thank you. So
hey, that was
they can
good,
work up
Kevin.
to 100 hours, and the fact is, if and not every senior is going to want to do this kind of a job. We have had volunteer seniors in the past that like to do work outside and don't mind doing this kind of stuff. And so I think if we at least open it up to them, see if there's any interest, and then we can go from there. So Victoria, if you could reach out to the senior COA, the senior center, and start that ball rolling, that'd be great.
Okay, will do.
Cool. Okay, next on our agenda is item number 5. We have a discussion and take action relative to utilizing EDEP. And in a nutshell, what that is, and Victoria, you can correct me, right? But that would allow applicants to sign and file electronically, and we could do that stuff all electronically rather than having paper. Building has electronic permitting. Board of Health is going that direction currently. So this is a natural progression, so to speak. Victoria, why don't you fill in the gaps there?
Yeah, so just for clarity, EDEP is through DEP through the state. So this would be separate from if conservation were to get online permitting, the same as our other departments are utilizing. So right now EDP has a few applications on there. They don't have all of them. They have RDAs, NOIs, and ANRADs right now that applicants can fill out and submit online. And then we would also be able to see that. And when we issue a permit, we can issue it through that and the applicant would get it. This would, cut down on, paper, would cut down on certified mailing costs that, we incur. It's almost $9 per certified mailing total to mail out permits. And also, if we did end up utilizing EDEP and we also did online permitting through Permitize, which is the software that building department uses, the applicant wouldn't necessarily have to fill out 2 applications with the same information. They can upload a scanned copy of the version that they submit to EDEP. So rather than filling something out again to reduce any duplicated efforts.
Well said, Victoria. See, that's why we have you around.
Thanks.
Because you got a little better grasp of it than I do. It in my it's electronic permitting, and you're right. It will work well with this Permitize software that the town is utilizing now and may implement for Concom in the future. So, again, this conversation is on the agenda just out of an abundance of caution, just wanting to make sure everybody understood what we were doing and the kind of stuff that we were working on. So, unless somebody has a major objection to that, I think we will just do whatever necessary so that we can start utilizing the EDUP. All right, cool. Item number 6, discussion and take action relative to site visit at 112 South Main Street. Victoria, you want to again fill us in?
Yeah, of course. So a couple weeks ago, I had reached out to DEP for some help with enforcement. As we have property owner who is continuing to do work after we had asked them to stop and issued an enforcement order. So they recommended, DEP's recommendation was that someone from the commission, the property owner, and someone from DEP go out for a site visit and sort of discuss all together. Just as a point of clarification, DEP only provides technical assistance, so they can't provide, they can't, because they're the appealing authority, they can't really aid in the enforcement, but they said they can kind of help move things along and provide the technical support. That makes sense.
It does, and thank you. I think anytime we can get technical support from DEP to ensure that we're on the right path, which I think leads to a greater conversation. And again, we haven't done the site visit. Do we have any dates or any proposed time that we could do this site walk, Victoria?
Yeah, so I believe the 21st and maybe the 24th was a proposed date, but I have to wait to hear back from Andrew, our circuit rider, for this region to
Okay.
see when he's available. He is on vacation until the 18th, so he might not be able to get back to me until then. But once we
Okay.
finalize the date, I will let the commission know when we're planning to go out there, and anyone who's able to can join.
Okay. Again, I think this brings it to the greater conversation. We have funds available in our budget that were earmarked to try to bring in part-time consulting help as needed. I think we've been a bit fortunate. We haven't had any very intense conservation filings that couldn't be handled through EPG and the NOI process. But I can tell you, enforcement just takes up a lot of time. And Victoria's very, very busy. And she's, as you can tell, right, there's frustration too. We send out enforcement orders and, sometimes work continues to be done. I think that we should be actively looking at a consultant that at least in the meanwhile, in the immediacy, help us with enforcement. Given DEP's role is going to be limited, right? They're going to be able to tell us, technical stuff, so to speak, but boots on the ground, people getting out there, looking at what's been done and measuring up the amount that needs to be altered or fixed or repaired or whatever. And we can recover some of those funds, once the notice of intent filing happens. But it's prior to that we need, I think, we need some help. So I know Victoria's been looking. I know we had put there and advertised a while ago. There was really like one interested party that we brought in. I think we need to keep looking. So at minimum, I'm trying to get in place this before my term is up in July, so that should we have something like this, it's as simple as we contact the consultant, the third party. They then take over and they go out there. They start documenting the infractions and the wetlands that may or may not have been impacted, the buffer zone, and just getting a better handle on enforcement. You know, it always works when the applicant or the person understands they made a mistake. But sometimes it doesn't work out in our favor. So I think having a third party would be a good idea. I'm just wondering if the board has any other ideas about that.
I'll abstain from that comment, making comments, okay, Kevin?
Yeah, comments relative to, do you agree with the idea that bringing in a third party to make sure that we are dotting our i's and crossing our t's when it comes to enforcement action? I think that can only be a good thing, that we make sure we're doing our job.
Oh, yeah, I'm being a little sarcastic there, Kevin.
I understand. I understand that, Charlie. I'm with you, my friend. You know, this is a place of decorum, so we'll all be professional, including myself. But I think this is a way that we can ensure that the town's interests, the Wetland Protection Act's interests, are all being met by having a third party. And again, once we start getting into notices of intent and things like that, then the onus to pay, and we have the ability to have certain costs covered by the applicant at that time. But this in between period, I think that's when we really need the professional help. So I think if nobody has any disagreements with that, then Victoria, I think we should continue to aggressively pursue and try to get somebody in. If we have to reach out to other agents, I know we've already reached out to EPG. They're going to get back to us with some, again, they're weighing, you know, how much work do they do in the town and things like that. So let's continue to look and let's get somebody in.
Sounds good to me, Kevin.
Excellent. Margaret, specialist, we have minutes from
Yes, Kevin.
March 27th. How do they look, Margaret?
What? What are we talking about?
March 20.
Minutes,
27th.
Oh, yes, no, minutes all look great. I just didn't hear the first word you had said. Minutes look perfect.
I'm sorry, I'm mumble. I'm
Thank
sitting here. I'm trying to. Number 8, any other business properly to come before the Conservation Commission? Does anybody have
Excuse me,
anything?
Kevin? We just need
Yes,
a
Victoria.
motion, we just need a motion to approve the minutes.
I apologize. That's a very good point, Victoria. I'll entertain a
My
motion to
liking
approve
it
the minutes
isn't
from-
good enough, Kevin.
It is in my book, Margaret. So I'll entertain a motion that we approve the minutes from March 27th, 2023.
So moved.
I'll
Thank you.
second.
Motion being supported. No further discussion. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Roll call vote. Charlie Sullivan.
Aye.
Aye. Margaret French.
Aye.
Margaret says aye. Kevin DeMaris says aye. Motion passes unanimously. Yes, very good job, Victoria, as always. So, and again, any other business properly come before the Conservation Commission? Victoria, we get anything in today?
Yeah, so, Pastor Moniz, I believe he's on the Zoom right now. He came in the office earlier. About,
How are you,
Lamb's Bill-
Pastor?
I'm okay. How are you?
I haven't seen you in a while. I'm glad you're doing well.
Yes, so am I. Thank you so much for taking my case. Appreciate it.
Victoria said something that there might have something come in today. So, Victoria, what's going on, dear?
Yeah, so he came in today. This is for an order of conditions that was issued for Lamb's Village. It's on the New Bedford line near East Chipaway Road. The extension that they had received expires today. So, we're sort of if the commission would like to take this up under any other business to come before the commission, they're requesting another, a 3-year extension. We can ratify the vote at the next meeting and put it on an agenda, but if you wanted to discuss it today.
Yeah, I think that, well, as you were saying, and I'm thinking that's probably our only viable option. Ask you this, Pastor.
Yes,
You guys are out there currently working, right?
not necessarily now. We just kind of, they are working on the city of New Bedford is putting the new pipes in.
All right, so some work, what I'm getting at is some work out there is getting done. And the reason why I say that, Pastor, is we're fine, I think, with extending order of conditions so long as there's work that's getting done and people are inspired to be doing the work.
Yes,
So typically we have no problem giving the 3-year, particularly on larger projects. So I'm not saying that we wouldn't. But we don't want to just keep extending order conditions if nothing is ever going to end up getting done. Or little work is getting done. So
I am just, I had
no-
a meeting last week with the engineers and the architect, especially the architect. And they are telling me that by May or June, we should have everything ready to go to the bank.
it's getting done. The city of New Bedford, who I think you have to work some sort of partnership or tandem with as far as access and utility usage and all. So they're
Yes.
getting some of that work done too. So,
Yes,
all right. This is the scope of the project, and I understand, and we have been involved with this project. This is what, almost 20, well, I won't say 20 years, but gosh, it's been a while, Pastor.
yes, it
When
has.
this project was first brought to the town.
Yes, yes, it has been.
I have no issue at this point in time. If the pastor wants a 3-year, I guess, as long as we're moving forward, I wonder if the board would prefer, a 2-year to ensure that they're doing something, or are you fine with a 3-year?
Kevin, I'm just thinking of the issue at Estelle Avenue and that
For
cropped up.
consistency purposes, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
So, Pastor, why don't,
Just-
and I think that was going through my mind. Thank you for bringing it up, Charlie. Pastor, what we've done where there hasn't, when it's been a slow roll, so to speak. Again,
Okay.
there's no blame being here. It's a massive undertaking what you're doing. You're literally doing the Lord's work. So
Yes.
it takes a while, and we're fine with that. But what we'd also like to see is a little bit of progress, keeping us better in the loop. And this is not you particular. This is our attitude more recently. So why don't we do this, Pastor? We'll give you another 12 months.
Okay.
Your time in May or whatever to start doing what you're doing. That'll give us an opportunity maybe to get out there within the next 12 months once you start breaking ground and doing some more work,
Yes,
and then giving us a level of confidence that that you guys are moving forward and that we will and then after that, if need be, we could extend it for a longer period of time. But Charlie's right. Rather than just handing out 3-year extensions, once the 3 years have already passed and not much has gotten done, we really need to kind of just make sure that we're all on the same page. So we'll give you another 12 months. It doesn't preclude you from asking for another extension, and I think you'd be I think the board will be amenable at that time too. So I think that's probably, I think for consistency's sake purposes, so we're treating everybody relatively the same, or at least in the same light, then I think the 12 month would be appropriate.
very good. I appreciate that.
Sure. So that being said, I think I'll entertain a motion that we accept the request for a 12-month extension, and that with the idea that it will be formally on our agenda, and we can ratify it again with another formalized vote, but I'd hate like heck for the pastor in this project to lose out on their order of conditions simply because of a couple of days, so. So I'll entertain a motion, the aforementioned motion.
So moved.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Thank you, Margaret. Motion made supported. Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Roll call vote. Charlie Sullivan.
Aye.
Charlie Sullivan, aye. Margaret French.
Aye.
French, aye. Kevin Damaris, aye. Motion passes unanimously. All right. Is anything, do we have anything else to come before us? We're good, right?
Nope, that's all.
All the
for me.
last minute.
Yeah.
Good. Everybody, hope you enjoyed your Easter. Just coming back from New Hampshire, went skiing with my son and his new bride, his new wife, got married 2 weeks ago. So
Congratulations.
thank you very much. Yes, it was all good. And I actually officiated the wedding, so it was fun. So, all right, folks, keep us in the loop, Victoria, on progress on those things that we talked about, and everyone be safe, and we'll see you soon.
Take care.
Oh, we just need a motion to
Thank you.
adjourn.
Oh,
Oh, this is what I'm talking about. Victoria, thank you very much, kid.
You're welcome.
Motion.
Motion made.
I'll second.
All in favor, roll call. Charlie Sullivan,
Aye.
Margaret French.
Aye.
Margaret says aye. Kevin Damaris says aye. Passes unanimously. All right, folks, be safe.
Good
Take
night,
care.
everyone.
Out.